May I pay my deepest respects to the Triple Gem and the Great Masters. May I pay my respect to Bhante Phra Mahathera Nuthera and all venerable monks. Good evening, dear students and all participants. Welcome to our Day 7 of the certificate program, Pali Chanting with English translations, on this special occasion of Buddhist Lent, a time when monks and many practitioners deepen their understanding of Dhamma and disciplined practice. And as we pass the halfway mark of our program, we now turn to one of the most meaningful and protective chants in Buddhist tradition, the Buddhajayamangalagatha, or the verses of the Buddha's victorious blessings. The Buddhajayamangalagatha play a vital role in Buddhist ceremonies and daily life practice, particularly within Theravada traditions across Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Bangladesh, Cambodia, and Thailand. They are often recited during significant life events such as opening a business, blessing a new home, or simply before daily food offering. These verses serve as both a reminder of the Buddha's own journey and a practical guideline of how virtues like patience, loving kindness, and wisdom can guide us through life's difficulties. And today we are truly honored to welcome Venerable Pisit Jittasutdho to guide us through the Buddhajayamangalagatha. Venerable Pisit Jittasutdho has a bachelor's degree from University of Illinois at Chicago, United States, with over 20 years in monastic life and nearly 2 decades of sharing Dhamma in English and Thai to monks and lay people. As a respected meditation instructor and Dhamma teacher, he has led retreats and taught thousands of students from more than 30 countries. With respect and gratitude, may I invite ขอภาพสดท่านขึ้น May I invite all the lay participants and students to offer our respect to the teaching monk. Bow. bow bow กลับไปข้างหน้าพระอาจารย์ได้นำบูชาพระรัตนตรัยครับ
ช่วยเปิดเสียงด้วยค่ะ
อะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธภควา Together พุทธังภควันตังอภิวาเทมิสวากขาโตภควตาธัมโมธัมมังนัมสสามิสุปฏิปันโนภควโตสาวกสังโฆสังฆังนะมามิอันธรรมยังพุทธัสสะภควโตปุปภาคณมการังกะโรมาเซนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะGood evening, everyone. Depending on where you're from, but I hope you are gonna have good time learning our lessons, the translation of Buddhajayamangalagatha tonight. As it is, it is quite long. There will be two parts, which is talking about the translation of Pahung or Buddhajayamangalagatha, and the ending, which is the supplemental. I will put that if I have enough time. If I don't, I will just cover most of the Pahung chanting at this time. Since we have another class tomorrow, so we better continue to our session then. All right. Allow me to pull this up real quick. Hopefully this could be enough. Can you see my translation? All right. Okay, good. All right. This one is talking about the Buddha's auspicious victories, which they are covered in 8 parts, which of course you can also finding yourself learning across on this during the chanting that I'm about to present here. First of all, Buddhajayamangalagatha or Pahung, it is common known in Thailand as Pahung Mahaka. It is a chanting that's a way to recollect the virtue of the triple gems, that is the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha, and as well as the practice to develop concentration, mindfulness, and inner strength. This one is, in fact, doesn't chant commonly throughout, it doesn't chant commonly throughout the way when you are chanting in evening or morning chanting. In fact, it chanting during the time when people making auspicious activities, something like on their birthday or inviting monks to blessing their home, or when it is like in auspicious day, like for example, on New Year Day, or something that having to do with a person who like to give blessing, to get receive blessing from the monk. It is also a pahung. It is one of the most popular chanting because it keep using for protection and as well as bring auspicious things to the person who kind of like want to receive the blessing or asking the monk to give this kind of chanting. But in fact, it doesn't require that monks have to chant. A person or anyone who are interested can also do this kind of chanting during the time of their own, depending on how much time one want to commit oneself on this kind of chanting aside from morning and evening chanting. It's quite fun too. I remember when I was the first year, during the second month, the teaching monk asked our new monk, me and my friends, to do this chanting if they are able to chanting all these without looking at the script, they will give kind of like some kind of a mark for you to continue to the next chanting. This is part of the requirement during the time when I was new monk. And this is one of the example that I like to show to you. It is as a part when you are, when they invite a monk or someone who like to make a blessing to their home or on their birthday or something that is auspicious to bring thing to their blessing. That they will invite a monk within this odd number, whether it's 3, not 1 though. But if they don't really have any, 1 is fine too. But at least it should be in odd number because they consider as a better number for blessing. So usually whether it is 1, 3, 5, 7, or 9. This is the maximum that they would do for number 9. And the monk would give the blessing at this time. And after that, they're going to chanting the other part that if I have time, I will go over that. But if I don't, just cover this Pahung Mahaka is enough. Okay. And this is the example people normally doing on this Buddhajayamangalagatha. Okay. All right. Where is it from? The origin? In fact, it doesn't originated at the time of the Buddha because this is like kind of like it's been authored on making is shown in Kuttaka Nikaya, which in the Kuttaka Tapata Katha scripture, which is called a collection of minor readings. In fact, it was composed by the great elder monks after the time of the Buddha, because most of the chanting are cover of the Buddha's story. Thus, it's not the time that they chanting as in the scripture, but it is a chanting authored by the elder monk on the later time. Thus, as it composed of the 8 words, and it summarized the 8 victories of the Lord Buddha achieved during his lifetime. Might I like to remind you that his victory is something that is not by force, but use his wisdom and compassion in order to overcome such obstacle, whether the force of evil, obstacle, or danger that may come, as we'll be telling you in the following story after this. And it is in this summarized, if you can see, I'm not sure you can, but if you look into the mobile phone, hopefully you can see it. It's quite small, but I think it's giving summarize of what it is. It has composed of the 8 words of the Pahung, which is the 8 victories that Buddha has overcome during his lifetime. So the first one is the victory over the Mara. Over who? Well, is it the Mara or the evil one? The one that came on the night before he became Buddha. And it is essence of the story. It's a symbol of conquering defilements. For the second one, the Buddha story is the victory over Alavaka. In case you don't know who is Alavaka. Alavaka is an ogre or yakka. I put a yakka in there because in case you may be using or familiar to the Thai word yak. Okay. In fact, it's an ogre, which he used his compassion and wisdom in order to overcome the anger of the yakka or the ogre. For the third one, is the victory over Nalakiri, which is a maddened elephant. By his mental power and calmness during the time when he, confronting this maddened elephant. The story will follow after this. The fourth one, victory over the Angulimala, a killer who murdered more than not more than 100. It's about 999 people. That's a lot of number. I'm not sure if could be many people at this time doing such commitment. And through his compassion and courage, he was able to overcome and subdue Angulimala. For the fifth one, the victory over Jittasutdho, a wicked woman who falsely accused the Buddha. It's quite similar to the news last month. Now it's quite calm down now about this woman who, falsely kind of like try to making the monk, fall for her. Through the truth and miraculous power. Number 6, victory over Sakjaka Nikanta. He is the Jainism monk who has pride of his own debate, came to have challenged the Buddha through his debate. And the Buddha victory over him through his Dhamma wisdom. It's quite interesting too, but I won't go into detail that much because the time is quite limited since we have come 6 already. For the 7th one, victory over the Naga king, a serpent with the dilute view. Through his kindness and discipline, he used it in order to overcome the serpent. And the last one, the victory over Bhagabrahma, who is a celestial being with the wrong view, through the supreme power of the Dhamma. This one is quite interesting too. All of these having no force or using any weapon in order to overcome, but just only peace and kindness, and as well as his wisdom, which is the main point in here for the Buddha to overcome as such. And thus this 8th word is quite interesting because it brings peace and victory, as well as changing people's mind, turning them from the wrong view into the right view, as in the following story I'm about to explain. But first, before we get to that, let's go to the chanting, because the chanting itself is what we hear, right? So it will be posted here since it's quite a little bit long. So I will just go with the translation and there is no Thai word. Okay. So that's just go with me with the English, English translation as well as the Sanskrit written in Pali. The word is starting with Bahung Saha. It's quite difficult to read, isn't it? When you're looking at some Sanskrit that I'm not used to. It goes with Pahung Sahasama Bikini Musawutantang Krime Kalang. This go further in these words. Maybe just make it easier if I just go with English, right? Yeah, let's just go with English, everyone. Okay. Creating a form with 1,000 arms, each equipped with a weapon. This implies to Amara. On the elephant Grimala, utter a fighting roar together with his troops. The Mara come with a weapon with 1,000 arms, riding on an elephant, as many of his troops. The Lord of Sage, or depending, this refer to Siddhartha, who is about to become the Buddha, defeat him by the means of such qualities as generosity. By the power of these, may you have the highest victory of blessing. This part is talk about the first victory of the Buddha during the time when he was about to become Buddha. In other words, earning himself the Buddhahood. At this story, it is the ultimate triumph because at the time he has no weapon and he was the only person alone encounter with the troops of Mara just before his enlightenment though. With all these resisting illusions and fear, imagine yourself when you were just there and in front of you there were thousands of soldiers with weapons on hand and you have nothing to fight against. But through his courage and wisdom, the Buddha himself was able to overcome them without fighting or doing anything that harmed them. But it is something that he used in order to turn and kind of like drive them away so that way he can find himself, continue with his attainment of enlightenment. As it is, this is the very important victory and also the first one that marked in the history in Buddhism, because this is the pure victory that the Buddha himself had attained. And thus, this is something to be put a note, and thus it become the first victory or first verse of Pahung Mahaka. Okay, next we will continue with the Mara, with the elephant. Even more fighting than the Mara, making war all night was Alavaka. This one is about Alavaka, the the Yakka or the ogre. This one is quite unstable and he has very arrogant. The Lord of Sage defeat him by the means of well-trained endurance. By the power of these, may you have the highest victory of blessing. In this story is quite interesting. In fact, it is the origin of the Dhamma that is quite important for lay person, such as yourself who are listening. But if you are monk, don't worry. You're also part of the training, which is called Karawasa Dhamma, or the virtue for householder. On this victory, talking about Alavaka, the wild ogre. The story goes like this. In fact, it's quite interesting that telling us that life after death is not the end. At the time, Alavaka himself, when he was alive, he was just a regular man, but he made merits that when he passed away, he was born in the realm of an ogre. At the time, because of this merit, he got a blessing from one of the ruler of the ogre, said that if you stay in this area, if anyone come into under your tree, the tree where you are residing, that person or that being will belong to you, become your food. That is quite interesting, because how can be such a person go under the tree and then become the food? The thing is, many animals usually then when they are seeking, some shade, when they were in a need some place to rest or under the sun for a long time, they're looking for a big tree to sit under. And Arawaka house or his palace is reside under this big tree. And it also drawn by those who has karma. Karma of what? Of panatipata, or killing. Once upon a time, this happened so many long times ago, but it happened in the time of the Buddha. There was this king who is enjoy himself of hunting. Just like the people in the past, the king himself, when he was born, he has some kind of sport with his, consultant and friends that he would, having kind of party, going out for hunting. Same thing in the time of the Buddha too. The king enjoy hunting. So those who enjoy killing will be drawn by those who are enjoy killing too. The king himself, at the time when he was try to hunt a deer, I believe, and it just happened that it run away to his direction, so he follow it. And as he followed the deer, when he finally out of his breath, he needs to rest. He found a big tree where Alavaka was reside, but of course he didn't know, or he don't see that is the place belong to Alavaka. So when Alavaka was at the time, it was also his lucky day too. Lucky day to the king too. What do you mean? Well, the king himself was so tired because of running, hunting a deer. So he take a little break, sitting under the tree. At the time, Alavaka was just having his meal. So the king was safe because he wasn't got breaking the neck and become the food. But, well, since the prey come into his territory, who would let it go, right? This is how the karma is drawn to each other. And then when Alavaka showed himself to the king, when the king saw that, of course, he would try to run away, but he has no power. Therefore, the Alavaka said, you are now belong to me. You are my food. But the king said, please let me go. If you let me go, I will find someone in my place. Alavaka at the time, that's not a bad deal. So I'll let you go. But the king was just so reluctant to, he wasn't sure that he's going to be survived. But of course, Alavaka let him go. But one thing that he forgot to ask what? How long? Because if you send someone else in your place, that's done, right? But he forgot. And so when he went back to his palace, tell the story to his consultant, and all the consultant asked him, how many should we send? Oh, I don't know. I forgot to ask. And where are we going to send the people? And so they send him the prisoner, the death sentence prisoner, day after day, sending one by one, one by one, until all the prisoners in the prison are empty. When they are empty, who else? It will be own people. So own people, when they know that they gonna be food, of course they won't tell him. They won't tell the people that they're gonna be food to Alavaka. They would just like assign, hey, take this as an offering to the celestial being or to the angel or deva under the tree. So when they were standing there, of course they were left alone and they will become the food. When the rumor begin to spread, they kind of like, fear, and they move out of town. So all in all, people try to, fear for the death. So they move out until they don't have anyone. So finally, they have to bring the baby instead as a food. Well, who else gonna be? All the baby is gone until, they're moving out, and all the pregnant women, they went to deliver the baby in different town. So there are no more baby until finally that when the Buddha has to come to save. It was the son of the king himself. Of course, fear for his own life. His life is more important than his own son. So he sent his own son, who just newly born, to become the food of Alavaka. But at that morning, the Buddha himself, he checked who will be the worthy one that will be enlightened when he show his wisdom or teaching the Dhamma. It found out that Alavaka, as well as the baby that is about to be the food, will be having, chance to attain Dhamma. So he went there in place in order to save the baby, as well as to challenge and subdue Alavaka. At the time when the Buddha was showing up, before the baby was about to arrive, Alavaka went to have a meeting with his friends, and one of them, when they went to join the meeting, they saw that the Buddha was waiting for Alavaka inside his palace. So when that friends went to meet Alavaka, hey Alavaka, I bring you some good news. Alavaka is the angry ogre, so he kind of like, what? His friend said, the Buddha came to your home. He was inside waiting for you. Alavaka's like, what? How can he get inside my home without my invitation? And he was so angry. So he get out from the party and went back to his palace right away. Up on confronting the Buddha, he himself doesn't have respect or, know about the Buddha much. He just know that this Buddha, many people praise that he has superpower and very holy person. Well, how powerful he is, I just want to test, because he himself is also powerful too. So he challenged the Buddha. Hey, the Buddha, get out. The Buddha just pack up his bowl and walk. Hey, he wasn't resist. He wasn't like everyone else said. Hey, Buddha, come back. The Buddha come back. Then he challenged again. Get out. Just want to see how the Buddha would react. Then the Buddha just get out obediently. But come back. Then the Buddha come, but for the third time. Hey, the Buddha, get out. The Buddha said, Alavaka, you inviting me in, and I am in. And I don't think I'm going to go out since you already invite me in. Well, Alavaka, at that time, he himself feeling like, remember that his uncle kind of like learn the knowledge, the Dhamma from the previous Buddha, but it's been passing so many long time. They only remember the question, but they don't remember the answer. And this is how Alavaka would like to challenge the Buddha. So he asked the Buddha the questions, and he said that if you cannot answer this question and such, I will kill you. The Buddha said, go ahead and ask, but I see no one who can break my neck and win over me. And that's the challenge begin. And that's the Buddha. I won't go into detail since we have other story to go over and the time is quite limited. It's just only the second one, okay? So after encounter with the questions, the Buddha able to teach and answer quite clear to Alavaka. He himself begin to subdue after anger has gone. when he began to listen to the wisdom that the Buddha shared by answering his question, he began to realize and listen to the Buddha's teaching. And after the answering of the fourth question, the Alavaka attained enlightenment. And it just that the time when he became enlightened, it was just like in the next morning. And at the time, they were just about to deliver the prince, the newborn baby, from the king. Alavaka feared for his, he just enlightened and he feel that he don't need to eat or kill anyone anymore. He want to practice Dhamma. And so he offered the baby to the Buddha as a token of showing his proof that from now on, he will not making any commitment to kill or murder any being from now. As a proof, he gave this baby to the Buddha. And the Buddha gave this baby back to the soldier who bring him instead of the king. And that's after her learning that Alavaka stopped eating, all the town people heard the news. They were kind of like happy because now they won't be bothered by being killed anymore. And instead, the Buddha also encouraged town people that to, help Alavaka by offering him kind of food instead, or not murdering, kind of like a raw meat or something to help for Alavaka to survive, as well as in turn Alavaka would pay back the gratitude by if there is any rain, anything that's with the weather and things that would trouble the town people, he would be that protector to rely on. And this is how the story ends. Oh, I forgot to mention before Alavaka asked the question or order the Buddha to get out and in and off. They're having a fight encounter first too, but it's kind of minor detail that I want to go because it's not main story that we are into with his wisdom, which is something is more important. All right, let's conclude with the second verse of Phra. For the third one, here the translation about the elephant, the mad elephant. Narakili, the excellent elephant, when maddened, was very horrific. Like a forest fire, a flaming disgust, a lightning bolt. The Lord of Sage or the Buddha defeat him by sparking the water of goodwill. By the power of these, may you have the highest victory of blessing. This one is quite interesting because it's in the history of Buddhism. During the time, the Buddha himself was quite famous, and his brother-in-law, whose name was Devadatta, who is, being competitive with the Buddha since before he became the Buddha, like when they were prince. Devadatta himself want to assassinate the Buddha by, went to make the plan with the new king in the Magoda kingdom, that to release the maddened elephant by this elephant. In fact, it was a peaceful elephant, but they drunken him, making drink alcohol or something that make him very mad and angry. Why the Buddha himself in the early morning, while he was go for an arm round, they released that maddened elephant, just heading straight to the Buddha in order to murder him. As the story goes, is the Buddha himself, with his kindness, able to meditate, able to communicate with the maddened elephant while it was still running. The Buddha has said something similar to this in this fashion that Narakili, you are now an elephant, which is because of your karma. If you commit more sin by hurting or harming me, it will be even longer and you will be suffer in hell. Would you like to commit such sin? It is making maddened elephant begin to pause and gain its own consciousness and stop in front of the Buddha and bow down, asking for forgiveness from the Buddha. And as such, the plan for Devadatta to murder or to assassinate the Buddha has failed. But this is not the first attempt, though. There are many other attempts follow after. But this is one of the things the victory of the Buddha has been over. And as you can see in here, he himself used his power and kindness in order to calm and subdue the elephant. But for us normal people, we don't have such. So if there are such elephant heading straight toward, walking very fast, trying to stomp up on you, better run. Okay. All right. That is the third one. For the fourth one, this one talk about Angulimala. A very, very horrific with a sword upraised in his expert hand. Garland with fingers ran 3 leagues along the path. The Lord of Sage defeat him with the mind-fashioned marvels, in other words, by his power. By this power may you have the highest victory of the blessing. Angulimala himself has a background story quite interesting. The thing about his background story goes like this. During the time when he was born, all the weapons in town are having its own light. The king feared for this omen, so he asked his fortune teller or the seer to tell out to portray of what is going on. He said that a baby they said that a baby who born on this day at night will be the one who is going to be the most powerful killer of all time. So the king, they advised him to get rid of the baby. And it just happened to be one of the king's best friend or consultant. And he don't want to do that with his kindness. He asked his friend, give the money too. Make sure that your son head straight. Don't do any bad. So that way he can be safe. And it just happened like that. But, well, it's not the time. When this boy become a young man, he was very smart, powerful, and handsome. He was, loved by his teacher. But, because he was so kind of like standing out, too much extraordinary. So the people become jealous of him. So they kind of like telling the teacher that, hey, this guy, he's gonna, kill you. Hey, that's not right. So they don't believe it until when you hear these false news all the time, it just turn into the truth. And the teacher believed that, so he tell Angulimala at the time. It doesn't mean he was not named Angulimala at the time yet, but it become the title for him because he used a finger as a garland in order to count the number of people he has killed, and that is called Angulimala. With this, the teacher told Angulimala when he at the time that, I have some knowledge that if you learn it, you become the ruler of the world, which is, of course, is not true. But Angulimala loved his teacher and respect very much, so believe whatever the teacher say. But it requires some sacrifice. If you can do so, you will be able to learn it and thirst and hunger for that knowledge. What is it? What is the sacrifice? You have to murder 1,000 people. If you can do that, you will be able to learn this knowledge. Angulimala, at first, he wasn't sure that it is right. But because of the thirst for knowledge is much more than guilt. So he began to murder one by one and expecting that he's going to be caught and, someone else going to kill him along the way in order to climbing up with this murdering. The teacher thought that Angulimala going to be killed in no time. But in fact, he wasn't. He was so smart and powerful. No one able to, subdue him until the last person who is going to be the 1,000 victim. That is, as you can see in the photo in here, you'll see that there are some distant figure in the center. That is to be his own mother. At the time, he was so mad that Anyone who is in his way, he will kill. So that way he can get 1,000 people to learn the knowledge. Disregard of who is that person is. The Buddha know that if he don't stop Angulimala, he gonna kill his own mother. So he went with his power to showing up along the way in front of before Angulimala meet his mother. When Angulimala said, "Hey, there's a monk in there on my path. Finally, I can learn the knowledge to become the ruler of the world, most powerful person." So he ran after the Buddha. But the Buddha, with his power, he just walked normally. But no matter how fast Angulimala can run, can never caught up to the Buddha. Finally, out of his breath, Angulimala said, "Stop, monk, stop." The Buddha said something that sparking the wisdom arise from the clouded mind of Angulimala. Said this, and that's become the words that our great master Luang Pu Wat Pak Nam kind of like use it. And he said that, "I have already stopped. It is you who is not Angulimala." Angulimala, I'm still running, but the Buddha walking. When he says stop, it probably doesn't mean stopping our physical body. It is something else. Finally, thought on his breath, he stopped and asked the Buddha, "What do you mean by stop?" The Buddha thought that stop killing, stop murdering is what I am doing. It is you who has not. Angulimala began to have the eye of truth open, listen to the wise and wisdom of the Buddha. Thus he asked the Buddha to become the disciple and ordained at that time. Said his mother was safe, and at that morning too, before Angulimala met the Buddha, the king himself decided to put an end to Angulimala by bringing 1,000 troops in order to subdue Angulimala. But when they arrived at the scene, they saw Angulimala shave his head, don the robe of the Buddhist monk, and finally went to ask the Buddha what's going on. The Buddha said, told to the king that, "Well, Angulimala now is ordained. He is no longer killing. I am assure you of his words, and that's letting go of Angulimala for all kind of fault that he has done in the past. Thus he become a monk peacefully, and thus later on, with his deed that he showed to the people while he went arm around, he able to become enlightened. But of course, there are people who don't like him too. So unfortunately, he was murdered later on. But before that, he became enlightened first. And so this is the story of the fourth victory over Angulimala, the killer. Next, we will go to the fifth one. Having a made wooden belly to appear pregnant, Jinja made a lewd accusation in the midst of gathering. The Lord of Sage defeat her with a peaceful and gracious means. By the power of these, may you have the highest victory of the blessing. This one is quite interesting because recently in our country in Thailand, we have this kind of situation with the monk and woman. So I have some kind of extra story to go over this, so you may see some different listenment, but I will not talk about that news and what's going on in present. In the story said in here that during the time when the Buddha himself was so famous, the other religion who has lost follower, supporter, they have to find a way in order to let the Buddha, fame calm down. So that way they can get more people to support and more followers. So they devise a scheme with this woman whose name is Jinja. It is said that she has the beauty and also has a radiant face, as you may see on the picture here. They agree that she will accuse the Buddha, but she don't do just one day because, the rumor doesn't become the truth in one day. It has to be repeatedly talked in over and over until people begin to believe that it is the truth. And thus the story goes in this following. Jinja, as in the story, I bring some photo from the video. Okay, that you can find it on Google. Okay, she begin to dress herself very beautiful, heading to the temple while the people about to exit. That is about the evening time when the Buddha himself finished his Dhamma talk. The Buddha, part of the evening, the Buddha would give his time to teach the people who come to listen to his wisdom talk or Dhamma. And after that, he would teach the monk and then go to bed. The thing is, she will go choose the time to arrive when people get out from the temple. So whenever people saw her walking in, when they asked her, "Oh, ladies, where are you going?" she would say, "None of your business." Okay, they don't ask, they just go. For the second one, for the second day, they do the same. She did the same thing too. And when people ask where she go, well, it's the business between me and the Buddha. What is your problem? Third day, fourth day, a month passed. People begin to spread the rumor. Hey, there are beautiful women go to the Buddha place. And thus she continued this. On the third month, she put more bigger pillow or bigger wooden, depending on how you see it. But as it is, she make her stomach a little bit bigger, pretend that she is become pregnant. And thus the story goes that people begin to believe that the Buddha make her pregnant. And of course, when they have a rumor, they don't ask the Buddha. Did you really do this? So the Buddha let it go. And as people begin to talk, those who have firmly belief and faith in the Buddha, they would know what's going on. So they don't really care. But the thing is, why don't they help? We never know. But the thing is, the people who don't have faith, they begin to have a talk. And that's become a rumor, talk of town. Remember, they don't have internet. They don't have Facebook. They don't have Instagram. Any picture or proof don't have such thing like that. And so talk of the town is the juicy talk that people like to talk about. So the accusation begin to continue. As it is in this story, you can see the picture. She walk in while the people walk out. As it is, finally, 9 months have passed. Imagine these people. She had done this for 9 months. 9 months. Finally, she put her tummy very big, as you can see on here. And when the Buddha himself at the time was teaching the Dhamma as usual, finally she herself revealed that, Buddha, pointing her finger toward the Buddha. Shame on you. Why don't you taking care of me instead of talking? Look at this. You can assign many people like the king or any wealthy man like Visakha or Anathapindika to supporting me and our baby in my womb. Because of this, the Buddha had to stop his teaching. Imagine, stop Buddha to teaching. That's a very, very big sin, isn't it? And so with this, the Buddha said these one words. Here, this is her accusation, just to prove that, I didn't bring it up. Jinja, here, she said, "Oh, great ascetic, you preach indeed to great multitudes. Sweet is your voice, and soft is the lip that cover your teeth. But you have got me with child, and my time is near. Yet you assign me no chamber for the childbirth. You give me no degree or no gene or oil. What you will not do yourself, you do not ask another of the lay associate to do. The king of Kosala, or Anathapindika, or Visakha, the great lay sister. Why do you not tell one of them to do what is to be done for me? You know how to take your pleasure, but you do not know how to care for that which shall be born." Saying this, pointing her finger toward the Buddha. That's really disrespect, and as well in the big crowd. In the picture earlier, you may see less crowd, isn't it? Well, maybe, not many big budget. Anyway, the Buddha said, "Sister, as to whether what you have said be true or false, that is something which only you and I know." Said it this, she began to realize that, I have won. So when she has realized as such, she moved. Finally, shame on you. And it just happened that the wooden that tie on her belly falling down in front of the crowd. Hey, what's that? falling on her feet. It said the wooden, but in the picture it may be pillow, depending on how you're gonna portray it. But the thing is, she feel a lot of pain, something that heavy fall on her foot, Aside from this, she was in pain, and the people were so mad because she had done this for 9 months, making the Buddha lose reputation, disrespecting, and lying to many people in here at this time. And imagine for 9 months, a lot of people don't come to listen to the Buddha anymore because of, they lose respect and losing faith. And when it's like that, yes, you know what's going on. She is not going to end happily. As such, that is how the Buddha himself able to overcome these false accusation. Well, let's continue to our next one. Satchaka, whose provocative views had abandoned the truth, delighting in argument, had become truly blind. The Lord of Sage defeat him with the light of discernment. By the power of these, may you have the highest victory of blessing. This one is quite interesting. I like it, but I don't have enough time to do this. But I think I have enough story to get you interested enough. Maybe you can learn it yourself later on. It's about this Satchaka, Nikaranta, or a Jainism monk. He himself has having kind of like a pride that he win every debate, whoever, kind of like having debate with him. Until when, told him that, one of them told him that, hey, you should have a debate with the Buddha, with your, wisdom. You can win over the debate with the Buddha. With his pride, he let all the truths go now because of his pride. His ego is so big. So he went to challenge the Buddha over the debate. As the debate went on and on, Satchaka asked questions the Buddha can answer, until finally the Buddha asked the question, but Satchaka not there to answer. Why? Because it's against his belief. He believed that everything is permanent, while the Buddha said, no, it is not. As the debate goes on, he begins to answer the question that contradict to his own belief. And when he realized that, he don't try to answer the Buddha's question. Finally, the Buddha said to him, Satchaka, if the Buddha asks more than 3 times, if one doesn't answer, his head will explode. Fear for his death, fear for his life. And now that's the proof that it won't last forever. Finally, he said, answer to the Buddha that contradict to his own belief and that subdue to his own ego. Thus, the Buddha win the victory over Satchaka belief and making him losing his debate for the first time. With this, we continue to number 7. We're almost there, quite fast. Nantopananda was a serpent with the great power but wrong view. What kind of wrong view? There was a story like this. The Lord of Sage defeat him by means of a display of marvels, sending his son Moggallana. I will get to that point. The serpent elder to tame him. By the power of this, may you have the highest victory of blessing. The story goes that during the time when the Buddha, when he was so famous, he went to teach people and devas. Deva, you can use another term. Deva is the term that they use as people who doing good deeds, and when they die, they learn to live in heaven. These beings who living in heaven, they call it devas. You can call it as an angel, but the angel, if you put into technical term, the angel is like a being with wings and created by gods. But in the heaven, that in the Buddhist cosmology, the deva or the being who live in heaven doesn't create by the god. It is the being who is a human, who used to be human, who doing good deeds and be reborn at that place. This is the difference. So that's why I don't use the term angel, but you can use it as an angel if you like. But the thing is, the Buddha teach the devas too. when he was alive, aside from just teaching lay people. At this time, when he went to teach the devas in heaven, he fly across above, not across, above the place where the serpent king or Naga king was living reside. And it felt that with respect because the serpent king, he thought that he is most powerful in that area. And someone to flew over him is very disrespect. With this, he kind of like used his power to block the Buddha, the path. The Buddha, knowing that it is not something, it's just a travel matter. So he sent his left chief disciple, Venerable Moggallana, who is supreme, who is excel in superpower, to challenging the serpent king to open the path. With the power of the monk and the serpent, when they confront and challenge each other, none of the way that serpent can surpass. He lost in every match. Finally, when he lost the match, Venerable Moggallana put the serpent king into his arm bowl and went to offer to the Buddha. And when the serpent king saw the Buddha, if his disciple is this powerful, how powerful his master would be. So the serpent king becomes subdued and pay respect to the Buddha. And thus the Buddha begin to teach. That's allowed the Naga king to become enlightened as well. This is how the Buddha overcome and gain the victory over the Naga king. And so we come to the last story of this Pahung. His hand bound tied by the serpent of wrongly held views. Bhagga, the Brahma, thought himself pure in his radiance and power. The Lord of Sage defeat him by means of his words of knowledge. By the power of these, may you have the highest victory of blessing. This one is the most challenged, aside from the Mara, because it's Bhagga Brahma. He is more powerful than the Mara himself. Here, the Buddha dispelled the wrong view and false belief of the clearly demonstrating the noble path. The Brahma, you can see in the picture here in white radiance, at the time, having a wrong view, Mara kind of like thought that many people begin to practice and follow the Buddha's teaching, he will lose the power. So he went to convince the Brahma that what the Buddha had taught is wrong, and also against with all the opposite to the Buddha's teaching. And as more talking, the Brahma himself, living for so long, he believed that all things are permanent. And as such, like this, the Buddha saw that, oh, if the Brahma has such a wrong view, it will not be good. And he himself, the Bhagga Brahma, has the knowledge to attain the Dharma too. So he went to teach the Bhagga Brahma, one of the powerful Brahma in that realm, to have a right view instead. After the challenging questions on and on, and let me make it short so we can have a conclusion story here, that the Buddha begin to show the way that, nothing's are permanent. Everything's, are impermanent and things like this. Finally, the Bhagga Brahma begin to subdue and realize that, oh, my idea of belief is totally wrong. What the Buddha taught and opened my eyes is totally right. And thus he become enlightened, and thus pay respect to the Buddha and praise of his victory. And thus this concludes by the peaceful victory of the Buddha over these obstacles in his lifetime. As one may see here, in the conclusion of these words, these 8 words of the Buddha's victory's blessings, whoever person of discernment recite or recall them day after day without lapsing, destroying all kinds of obstacles, will attain emancipation and happiness. In other words, if you do this chanting every day, recall the Buddha victory, praise it with your clear mind, you will find yourself with happiness and blessing as you continue. And so you can do this practice. In fact, you can also use it If you are new to this and you don't know how to recite all the rhythm, you can check on YouTube channel in order to, recite this and practice follow the way. And so, what this Dharma perspective of this phase of chanting will be for us. In fact, the chanting that we do or the Dhamma that we practice, it is not more superstition, but it is all a representation of the mental strength and overcoming challenging through the Dhamma. As you may see, all the obstacles that the Buddha has been facing in the past portrayed in these 8 words. All of these are something that about life-threatening. And he able to overcome with his peaceful practice through inner peace. And the Buddha victory over these defilements, it is not a physical enemy. In other words, it is not something that one can touch or see with eyes. It is something is more subtle that is defilement that only in the mind. And he able to overcome that. And you too can do so if you practice meditation according to the way that the Buddha taught. And it reminds us that anyone can overcome life difficulty through mindfulness, meditation, and wisdom and loving kindness. As such, this is something if you practice, surely you will be get over this obstacle in life. And so, apply this. You can do this before you go to bed or leaving home to keep yourself be more confident or train your mind through the calm, mindful, and compassionate. And this is not the magic though. It is a poetic form of Dhamma practice. So hopefully this could benefit to you if you practice. For further, what it would help if you practice it or chanting it regularly. It will encourage you become more brave and also lesson of overcoming challenge and a tool for mental training for inner Dhamma in the head of practice. Okay? All right. For the last verse of Pahung, in fact, this one is not in the Pahung, but it is used as the conclusion of the blessing if one is chanting. It's called Maha Karuniko. It is also known as Chaya Parit, which is the Buddhist chanting tradition recited after Pahung. Its mean and significant is that it praised the Buddha's boundless compassion and his selfless effort in cultivating virtue, and thus it is benefit to all living beings. And it also believed that it dispels suffering, sorrow, illness, and danger while bringing auspicious and inner strength to those who ever reciting it. So if you practice or cite or not practice, if you chant the Pahung, make sure you end with these the Teva Samaja Parita Katha too. Okay, it's quite difficult to read in Sanskrit. I'm not used to it though. Hope if I spell or said it something wrong in some way, please forgive me on that part. All right. What does it say in here? Is it chant to end the glorify the Buddha victory? Okay, as he himself is a protector of all being invited by his blessing of peace, safety, and spiritual success. And it also serves as both praise and protective recitation parita. And here it's said like this. Now this time I have some Thai words in there. It's quite easy because it's not that long. It's said in here, Mahakaruniko Nato. Okay. Itaya Sapapani Nang. Okay. It means that the Buddha, our protector, with great compassion for the welfare of all beings, having fulfilled all the perfections, attain the highest self-awakening. Puretawa Parami Sapapato Sampotimuttamang. This is what is said in here. And through the speaking of these truths, may you have a victory blessing. Hotu me chayamangkalang, etena sajawachena hotu me te chayamangkalang. This is what is said in here. When it's chant this, well, it will leading to the last verse, which is called Chayamangalagatha. And normally at this time, the monk who is the head presiding monk will sprinkling holy water that they do the chanting in the Pahung, and for all other chanting that they do before they're gonna make to this part to end the conclusion of their chanting, They will start sprinkling water to bless the people who listen to it. These are normally for the lay people who invite monk to bless their home. Okay, and this will be to the last word, which is called chayanto, or a victorious blessing. Here, victorious at the foot of the Bodhi tree was he who increased the Sakayang delight. It's referred to Siddhartha before he became the Buddha. May you have the same sort of victory. May you win victory blessing. So whatever the Buddha himself had overcame these obstacles, may you become victory just like him. This is the conclusion blessing. At the head of the lotus leaf of the world, on the undefeated seat, consecrated by all the Buddhas, he rejoiced in the utmost attainment. And a lucky star it is, a lucky blessing, a lucky dawn, a lucky sacrifice, a lucky instant, a lucky moment, a lucky offering. See, all blessing and lucky. A rightful bodily act, a rightful verbal act. If you will be lucky, you have to do something luck to yourself too. That is, do right action, no killing, no stealing, no sexual misconduct. Right verbal act, no telling lie or using false speech. By doing so, it will bring you luck and will bring you trust and respect from others. A rightful mental act, that is practice of your meditation, your rightful intention. Having no intention of harming others, stealing from others, or commit sexual misconduct, or using false speech. Having such thought like that, having no thing, then you will have yourself a rightful mental act, and thus find yourself inner peace. With regard to those who will lead the chaste life, doing these rightful things, your rightful aims are achieved. And so, may there be for you all blessing. May all the devas protect you. If you do as such, surely you are a good person, that the devas will be regarded and will come to protect upon you. And so with this, everyone, it comes to the conclusion, the ending. Sappa Puttha Nupavena Sattha Soti Bhavantu Te. And that's this conclude of our session for today. Hopefully, it get you out of something out from this chanting. Or maybe you can be inspired to do this chanting by yourself, because do it so by yourself would allow you to be able to bless rather than listen to let the monk bless to you all the time, right? It is better to do yourself too if you can, because all of these cannot be happen if you don't do. That's if you wanna be happy, you wanna be blessed, you have to bless yourself as well. All right. Hopefully this could be a good start for you to start do the chanting on your own, aside from let monk do this all the time. Okay. By doing the blessing, not only just the chanting, because the chanting is just help you to be focused, but to do the good thing is avoid the bad, do only good, and purify one's mind. This will help you finding yourself cultivation of inner peace, and thus earning yourself enlightenment in the future. So keep practicing, never stop until it's fulfilled, your parami or your perfection become fulfilled. You too shall have a chance to become enlightened, just like the Buddha and all enlightened one in the past. All right, everyone. Hopefully this could be a good start. Now, I think I like to end the session. It's about 5 minutes early. I hope you don't mind. Now the chanting. Right?
Buddhajayamangalagatha.
Itipiso bhagavan
Arahang Samma Sambuddho.
Such indeed, he is a blessed one, a worthy one, a rightly self-awakened one.
Vicha Charana Sampanno Sukhato Lokavito.
Consummate in knowledge and conduct, one who has gone the good way, knower of the cosmos,
อนุตตรปุริสธรรมสารถิ
Unexcelled trainer of those who can be taught.
สัทธาเทวมนุสานังพุทโธภควาติ
Teacher of human and divine beings. Awaken, blessed.
สวากขาโตภควตาธัมโม
The Dhamma is well expounded by the best one.
สันทิติโกอาการิโกเอหิปัสสิโก
Apparent here and now, timeless, encouraging investigation.
โอปัญญิโกปัจจตังเวทิตาโพวินโยหิติ
Leading inward, to be experienced by the wise for themselves.
สุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆ
The Sangha of the blessed ones, disciples who have practiced well.
ปุจุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆ
The Sangha of the blessed ones, disciples who have practiced directly.
ยายาปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆ
The Sangha of the blessed ones, disciples who have practiced insightfully.
สามีจิปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆ
The Sangha of the blessed one, disciples who have practiced with integrity.
ยะติทังจัตตาริปุริสยุคานิอัตถปุริสปุคคลา
That is, the four pairs, the 8 kinds of noble ones.
เอสะภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆ
That is the Sangha of the blessed one disciples.
ปาหุนายโยปาหุนายโยทักขินายโยอัญชลีกรณิโย
Worthy of gift, worthy of hospitality, worthy of offerings, worthy of respect.
อนุตตรังปุญญาเกตังโลกัสสาติ
The incomparable field of merit for the world.
Now let us all begin our inner peace time just for a few moments before the end. So I'd like to invite everyone finding yourself sitting in a relaxed and most comfortable position. Imagine yourself sitting somewhere that you like to be by yourself. Begin to check and see whether there is any tension and close your eyes softly as if you are about to fall asleep or take a break. Begin to relax from the top of your head. Relax down to forehead, eyebrows, and eyelids. Making your face feeling soft as you continue down to the neck and shoulder. Adjusting your back, body, arms, forearms, all the way to the tips of your fingers. Continue to relax further from your neck, your abdomen, down to your legs and knees, all the way to your feet. Making sure that your body is properly adjusted, finding yourself comfort feeling. It is the priority before you begin your journey. When you finding yourself the comfort feeling and relaxation, you would feel like yourself is transparent, light, spacious, or empty, blended in with the atmosphere in your room where you are meditating. Body and mind are connected. If one is relaxed, the other would follow. Allow these two to be relaxed. Then you may continue to observe the mind. Once you are done adjusting the body, continue to adjust the mind. Empty the mind. Clear all the things aside. Imagine yourself sitting in a place, somewhere that you like to be, whether it is your own garden or on top of a mountain. Make you feel free and calm. No more responsibility in the mind. And from there, take a deep breath. Slowly breathing out. Breathe in and breathe out. Allow your mind coming back and gently resting inside. Let the mind stay within while you maintain your relaxation and the comfort feeling. These two are the foundation, mindfulness and relaxation. So observe your mind by use your feeling to feel your mind within while you're meditating. This is an act to maintain your mindfulness inside. Observe the mind like a good observer. Let the mind stay and be still at one point inside where you feel most familiar. Let the mind stay at that point, whether it is your abdomen inside, your chest, or forehead, anywhere that you like to begin. Maintain it there by lightly imagine the sun, the shining Buddha, the crystal ball, or the full moon. Choose one. Let these objects stay with the mind while you observe peacefully without react. Should your mind begin to wander or having noise from outside disturb, or having your own thought arise while you observe, you may use the mantra to free your mind if you like. You may use your own mantra. For example, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, or the following mantra taught by our teacher. Samma Arahang, Samma Arahang, Samma Arahang, Samma Arahang, loosely translated as the right path away from negativity of the mind, or the defilements if you like. As you continue, remain calm and be still. Observe whatever may come. Be still as long as you like, while stay relaxed and observe. Let us continue on for a few moments of our time in silence until the appropriate time. May everyone attain your inner peace in this meditation. สัพเพพุทธาภลปัตตาปัจเจกานันจะยังพลังอรหันตานันจะเตเชนารักขังพันธานิสัพพโสสัพพพุทธานุภาเวนะสัพพธรรมานุภาเวนะสัพพสังฆานุภาเวนะสัทธาโสธีภะวันตุเต Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for coming for our session today. We will continue again tomorrow with the reciting 5 precepts and 8 precepts as well as Ovada Patimokkha. Thank you for coming. Hope to see you again next time.
May I invite all the lay students and participants to offer our respect to the teaching monk. Bow, bow, bow. I'd like to express our gratitude to Venerable Pisit Jittasutdho for illuminating these verses of protection and blessing. As we have learned today, the Buddhajayamangalagatha is more than just a chant. It's a roadmap. Just as the Buddha conquered the Mara, the evil with patience and goodness, Narakuri, a fierceful elephant with loving kindness, and Sajjaka, an arrogant talker with wisdom. We too can draw these virtues in our daily lives. And the final verse leaves us with a beautiful promise that through regular recitation and reflection to the Triple Gem, we can move closer to the inner peace and awakening. So I'd like to encourage you to incorporate parts of this chant into your own practice, to reflect on the Buddha's victories and apply his means to your own challenges. And as a gentle reminder, tomorrow evening at 6:30 p.m. Thailand time, we invite you to join us with evening chanting and meditation. And at around 7 p.m., Venerable Pisit Jittasutdho will return to guide us through our next topic, the formal request for 5 and 8 precepts, foundational chants that have formed a sacred dialogue between the monastics and lay people to pass on the noble practices for over 2,600 years. And may the merits of today's learning and practicing Dhamma bring peace to all beings. May the victory blessings of the Buddha protect you and your family. May you be blessed with well-being, wisdom, and the light of Dhammakaya shining within. Thank you for joining our program. May your mind be peaceful in the ocean of merit. See you tomorrow and good night.